What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome to Friday Night WrestleCast 2020 Backlash. I think I said that completely backwards, but whatever. I am your host, Adam Vale, and tonight I am joined by the usual cast of characters. I got the sister, Dana. What's up, Dana?
I love how you stopped.
I'm playing the same. Yeah, I just gave up. I don't want to fuck it
up. What's up, Dana? I'm doing well. Thank you again for having me, because I'm always here.
There you go. That's it. I'm telling you, it's like the shadow. It's like I look around and I just see you. All right. As you heard the chuckles over there, got Richard Bailey Jr. What's up, Rich?
What's up, listeners and viewers? I am ready to record the greatest wrestling podcast ever.
And we got the one and only Ricky. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
There we go. All right. We are all excited for the greatest show ever. The greatest match ever. Whatever matches you have rolling around in your head, whether it's Bret Hart and Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan and fuck all that. This is it. It's Edge, Randy Orton. 2-hour match. Are you kidding me? Yes, I am. Because this shit is not going to live up to that moniker there. No, it will not. And they even said it. Edge even said it. He was like, I don't know why they are pushing it this way. I don't know who they think they're fooling. It will be a good match, no doubt. These are great performers. We all know that. But greatest match, once you do that, people start thinking, all right, what do you do? Greatest match, that could vary. That could be in-ring. That could be out of the ring. I've seen Sabu and RVD have some amazing matches that could go down as greatest match, doing some craziness, but we're definitely not going to see that type of action. But still, so whatever. We'll get to it. Yeah, so our new format, and if for people that have been gone for a while or whatever and then come back, we're just going to cover 3 main items in the news. We're not going to do the whole big rundown. 3 items, and then we're going straight into the rundown of the pay-per-view. So, Dana, what's your top 3 stories that people need to know?
All right, we have to start with the biggest story that has broke, kind of to no one's surprise, because Vince McMahon never sticks with the same writer or makes any sense and likes to blame other people and scapegoating. If you have not known, WWE has announced on Thursday that Bruce Pritchard is now going to be leading SmackDown's writing team. What they're doing is they're going to consolidate both the Raw and the SmackDown writing team. So they originally was 2 separate teams. Now they will be working together under Bruce Pritchard. He will take the reins, and basically the reason why this was Bruce Pritchard's style is very similar to Vince McMahon, and many people have accused it of being, kind of the yes man to Vince McMahon, while Paul Heyman, who was the original team writer, he likes to take talent and develop them over time, which is why we got the Aleister Black. Which is why
ECW was so popular and famous, because of all the would-be stars that he created from there. So,
right, and he likes to take talent and marinate. So this is not something where like 1 week or 2 days. It takes around 18 months or so for you to get that nice, full, satisfying push of this character. Meanwhile, Bruce Pritchard is like, throw you out the door and here it is. Bruce Pritchard is also responsible for such wonderful segments as the dog food with Roman Reigns. What we witnessed tonight with the urine being thrown in Sheamus's face. He's also responsible for the whole Jeff Hardy situation. So, yeah, we're gonna get a lot of poo and pee and 2-year-old gags and.
There was a green slime used in a segment tonight. Slime.
And the slime. We're gonna get some slime. Now, not to say that Paul Heyman is any, he's not someone who is perfect. He has faults of his own as well. But, this is something that Vince McMahon wants, because he sees the show only for him. It's not for us. Essentially, this is just for him.
Well, I also see this as a combination of things. I see it like what you said, it's for him. But I also see that from what we've heard, is that now that talent can just go across shows, right? Remember, they've pretty much
There's
got
a
rid of
reason.
the whole idea, and yeah, because of ratings and other things, and what the networks are requesting. So it makes sense on that respect to then have the same writing staff, so then that way you know the storylines, you know what's going on. Because I think what it looks like what's happening is that one writing team wasn't talking to the other writing team. So then whenever they would come together to talk to Vince, they seem like they're going in two different directions. And they probably are, because they're not connected in any way. But once Vince makes this agreement with these networks, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll bring stars from here and back and forth. And, well, you got to keep things in order in regards to the storylines. And how do you do that? So have one main team, and that's the way it used to be way back. Remember, way back when they started SmackDown as a show, there was one team, and then eventually they started the roster started developing on such a massive level that they were like, hey, we got to separate this, and then that's when we wound up getting Paul Heyman running SmackDown and doing the whole thing with Edge and the Brood and all that stuff. So, all right, keep going.
Well, also speaking on that, the ratings are down for both Raw and SmackDown, but SmackDown significantly. And remember, Fox paid $1 billion for this show of urine. So that is also an issue. But the thing is that there's a lot going on in the world right now that many people are not going to probably tune in to go see wrestling at the moment. There's a lot of different situations, and Vince does not purely understand that. So he is believing that is because this talent that is being pushed by Paul Heyman is not significant enough to have higher ratings. And so he was very upset and blamed it on Paul Heyman, who's now became like the scapegoat.
Well, it's got to blame somebody. So when he does his next shareholder meetings, right?
Next week, I believe is the next shareholders meeting, which I really don't think they care at this moment.
No, they do, because it shows that he's doing something. It's no different if a business is failing, and when they go in, it's like, oh, well, Jimmy over there, he's always fucking up the cash register. He's like, yeah, but you're the manager. Yeah, but you're fired, and I'll just tell the owner, I just fired the manager who's fucking everything up.
We're in certain circumstances where it's like, okay, and also, here's the thing. What people don't realize, NASCAR came back. And the NASCAR ratings had over 1 million people, which surpassed SmackDown and Raw.
Well, so people love cars. I love NASCAR. Let's do it. Left turns all night long. Shit, no. See, people saying, oh, you just sounded very condescending. No, I go to the tracks. I go to the raceways. And it's been a while, but I went with my wife, and we'll go and we'll drink some beers and, watch some racing. Something about it. It's fun. It's fun live. Definitely is fun live.
Okay. Well, yes. So Paul Heyman's role has now been demoted to in-ring performer, which basically means
put on a singlet. Get your ass in there.
Start wrestling again. But no, he's going to be. Obviously, this means Brock Lesnar is coming back, and he's going to be.
Or
don't say Bobby. Don't say Bobby.
No. Bobby Lashley's already got his mouthpiece. They're going that whole MVP Impact route. He could do something else with someone else. So I can easily see him maybe with Shayna Baszler, because that was the other thing that he wanted to do. It was originally he was going to do that with Ronda Rousey, but Ronda, whatever, she's on hiatus. So there you go, Shayna, and he could be the mouthpiece for Shayna.
I haven't seen her in so long. I miss Shayna.
Yeah. So I think that could work. It doesn't have to always be Brock. He was supposed to, remember the whole thing, oh, you're a Paul Heyman guy, and he was supposed to have a bunch of guys, and that didn't happen. But he could say, all right, and I got a Paul Heyman woman, and I am the whole thing, spokesperson. So he could easily do that. So.
That is true. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. But we'll see what's going to happen. But this also now means, Raw. And also, as you noticed, if you watch NXT, talent is just bouncing all over the place. So Vince thinks, in order to get the ratings higher on NXT, we want to see Raw and SmackDown talent on the show.
Uh-oh.
So.
Yes. Well, all right. What's number 2?
Number two seems to be that Evolve Wrestling is in financial trouble and is basically going to sell everything to WWE.
This was supposed to happen way
Right.
back because remember
Right.
when WWE had that Evolve pay-per-view event on the
The,
network?
the 10th anniversary, right?
Yeah, they had that, and they even covered it before, and they've picked up a large majority of the talent. Hell, almost everybody that what's the tag team? Street Profits. They're from there. Apollo Cruz is also from there. The one, the dude that jumped in with the tag team with Selena. What's
Andrade?
no?
Garza?
What? No, no, no. The
Oh, I know what you mean. Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. He's from there also.
Angel
So
Garza,
it's Shotzi. Shotzi Blackheart is.
Yeah,
from there.
Shotzi. There you go. That's what I'm saying. They pretty much rated their talent pool, and then even Darby Allin, and Darby Allin, he's from there, and he passed because he was offered a deal, and he passed on it because they were going to send him straight to NXT, which isn't bad. But then he also had friends over building up AEW, and he said, "Well, we only have one roster. You would be on the main roster here," and he just went that route. So. But yeah, he was also part of Evolve. So yeah, no, I'm not surprised. I thought this was supposed to happen a long time ago. It's a smaller federation that was created by one of the former writers of WWE. So he left and created his own thing. And then Paul Heyman was a spokesperson for them for a long time. There was a viral video that went out where it was some kind of press event over, I think it was in Japan. I think it was in Japan. I'll just say Japan. And it had Will Ospreay there, and Paul Heyman was there. And Paul Heyman got on the mic and started talking about the industry and stuff. And he said he wanted to offer a contract to Will Ospreay to come and wrestle at Evolve in the States. If I remember correctly, this was before Will Ospreay signed a deal to wrestle in the States for Ring of Honor, which I think also coincided with the New Japan deal. But yeah, that's a video. People listening be like, "Oh, Adam, you talking some shit." No, go ahead, look it up online. Paul Heyman, Will Ospreay. You'll find a video. It's out there. You can see it. So, all right, keep going.
So with Evolve this time, it seems that according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE may soon own Evolve, just completely outright. And that Evolve is in serious financial trouble because they had to cancel their planned WrestleMania week shows that was supposed to bring in a whole bunch of money for them.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, it is, the whole organization is struggling. And it seems that there is, because of the pandemic, and we don't know how long everything is until we can have fans back and they can start generating money like normal. It seems that they are basically going to sell everything to WWE, which includes their tape library. So, sadness.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And then also, I think we all received that email sometime last year. It was like that survey from WWE Network talking about, oh, what would you like to see more reality shows this time? And they talked about promotions out there. Others, of course, they mentioned Impact, and they did try to buy Impact, the tape collection, and then they had Evolve listed. So this is one of those plans that they were trying to do to build up the network, because the whole point is so that way they can say, hey, for that next tier, that third tier, that $14.99 tier for the network, you get more wrestling. What do you mean more wrestling? You get Evolve. You may get Impact. They picked up that there's a UK promotion that they picked up, and I know they have their tape collection, so then they'll probably get some of that. And that's what they're trying to offer on that next tier. I don't know, and I don't believe that they would actually take the pay-per-view events, because that's the rumor. Everyone would say, oh, they're just going to take the pay-per-view events from the $9.99. That would be a low blow. I can't see them doing that. Say, hey, by the way, everybody, you've been paying $9.99 for all the goods? No more. Or, oh, we're taking just WrestleMania out of it. That'd be a smack in the face. A lot of people are only subscribed because they get these pay-per-views. So, I don't know. What about you guys? What do you think of this whole thing buying Evolve? Game changer or whatever? Rich?
Oh, I didn't know who you was going to first.
Rich. I don't know. Anybody?
I mean, I It's not a surprise. I think I think y'all had great points already. Yeah, but they rated a lot of the talent that was there, so I'm not too surprised about that happening. I just hope if WWE is going to do that, they're actually going to make use of the talent um, that is there. Give them more of a showcase. I know they've been having the events, the Evolve events, where NXT stars are showing up, and some of those wrestlers would occasionally appear on NXT. So I don't know why they just don't. If they do buy them, I would consolidate that and just have them all under NXT, and then you pretty much have the NXT roster still, going strong. If you're going to do that,
I think because on paper, first it'll just fill up that roster and it doesn't really stand out. But if they are still going with that $14.99 tier and are still trying to advertise that you're getting more wrestling, then you just keep that brand. That's the name. Like, hey, you're getting Evolve Wrestling. Oh, what's that? It's another promotion with a whole bunch of other dudes. Oh, really? Okay. But when you kill that, then what do you do with it? Just have the backlog? You just have their collection of tapes? Like, oh, these are all these other guys you may know, may not know. I don't know. It seems like it would be a waste. But,
yeah.
Ricky?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to make of it because I know that I know that they've been working with Evolve before. They had the whole event last year that they put on at the same night as Fight for the Fallen that AEW was doing. And I'm looking right now at the Evolve roster, and one name that stands out to me is Evan Bourne. I remember him from his WWE days, and he went by the name of Matt Sydal, I believe.
Matt Sydal, yeah. Still wrestling, is that name?
But he's using the Evan Bourne name on Evolve, which tells me, and that was a WWE name, so that tells me that like they've had the okay with that for a while now. I recognize Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston.
He was in CCW. They have a few familiar names there, and of course, like you mentioned, like all the alum they have. Austin Theory was someone that was in Evolve. I'm not sure what they'll do. I mean, it almost seems like what they might end up doing is just integrating them with NXT. I mean, they'll pretty much have to if they want these they want these newly acquired talent to be known. Then you're going to need to introduce them on familiar brands. You can't just throw out there, hey guys, we have Evolve. It's now available on the network. It's like the people that were already watching Evolve will watch it, but if you want to bring eyes to it, you're going to need to feature some of these Evolve guys on NXT and be like, hey, if you want to see more of their matches, we've got the whole collection. Things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they felt that they needed to buy it, but I don't know.
It'll definitely be interesting once they start promoting it and how they go about promoting it. Because some of their talent, one of the key talents that they had was Darby Allin. He had some amazing matches there with Theory and a few other guys that are currently on the main roster and still in Evolve. So he's definitely going to get some promotion out of this. Darby Allin, meaning. They're going to definitely have to mention that. So we will see. All right. So what about the last one? What's the last news story, Dana? Dana, are you muted? I don't know. I think it says she's still on. So, all right.
Well,
we'll see. Maybe she might have.
I'm sorry. My computer does not like to work when it's muted.
That's right. That's right. I figured it was me. All right.
Yes. So, what happened is we finally have confirmation about the entire Drake Maverick storyline situation, and Triple H has confirmed that his release was purposely turned into a storyline.
Ouch.
That's a bad
He
look.
says, and I quote, "We already had the tournament mapped out and promoted, but then the releases happened, which were horrible. No one wants to see anyone lose their job. but a lot of companies around the world are having to make tough business decisions to ensure that they are still there as this continues on. Side note, they did not have to fire anybody. They have plenty of money. Okay, continuing. Difficult decisions were made. He was given the option of continuing in the tournament and wanted to prove that he could still be here. If you've met him or known him at all, he is one of the most passionate guys. He loves WWE and just wants to be here. It is his dream, and he couldn't be a better guy. So, also, when the release happened, he wasn't involved in anything, but it just happened the way it did. During the process of this tournament, he captured people's hearts and their imaginations, and he earned that spot. It was already out there, so you either ignore it or you turn it into something. We turned it into something based on him and his performances. I'm personally thrilled for him and that he can continue to do what he loves and dreams about.
Wait, real quick. Let me just enter. Oh,
Yep.
wait. I thought the way you described it was that it was all a work. It's not.
Oh.
It was him crying. That was legit. That video then.
He states that that was the legit part.
Oh, okay.
And,
All right. I thought
the
the way you
power
said
of the cry
that it
moved
was all a work, that they were already planning on doing this before they had to do the layoffs. So this was supposed to be that, hey, I just got fired. I'm sad. I'm in this tournament. And that it just so happened to coincide with the layoffs. But no, that was a legit cry. And
that
okay.
is what he's
Yeah.
saying.
So
He's
that's
saying
what-
that legit.
That's what we were talking about before in a previous WrestleCast, that it was possible that the original plan was that Drake Maverick was going to be let go, but once they saw the outpouring of support, they decided to work that into a storyline and have him earn his way, back. So I mean, I suspected that may have been the case, and so yeah, I mean,
the announcers keep talking about he's fighting for his job. Oh, if he keeps winning, he's fighting for his job. Come on now. They didn't say that about any of the other people that got laid off.
Right. So that's what happened with that. In addition to that, Shawn Michaels stepped in, who's saying that they wanted to make Drake Maverick there for a while. So he was also championing for Drake Maverick to stay.
I just never understood why when they picked him up from Impact, he was Rockstar Spud. Great performer. Great cruiserweight performer. And when he showed up at 205, he came in as a mouthpiece. Remember? He was their general manager. They didn't even put him in the ring. He never wrestled.
The only time we saw him wrestle was when Bret Hart got knocked down during the Hall of Fame.
So I just didn't understand that. I just didn't understand that. So now you get to see him perform and wrestle, and people get to see what he's all about. So that's cool.
So
at the very end of his deal,
that's very odd. Imagine
Yeah.
being picked up as a wrestler and your entire stay there, you don't wrestle. So
yeah, you think holy shit, Rockstar Spud's gonna be on 205 Live. This is great.
Yeah.
And he's there as the general manager, and you're like, what?
What do they call this guy? Has to be temporary, or he's going to be one of those working general managers. Occasionally doing matches. No, that never happened. So.
right.
Man.
So he was essentially just the tears.
Well, it's still not a good look, but
No.
hey, it is what it is. People that have been watching this product for a long time know anything could happen. And you pick up on the signs, and we all picked up on the signs when the announcers kept pointing out the fact that he was losing his job and that he's fighting for his job. I was like, well, when you do that, you're pretty much telling us this is a story. This is a story now, so.
Who knows? And also, it could be a work again, and Triple H is just trying to say, see what happens when you dream and,
But you know what? You're right, Dina. Who knows? But you know what we do know? That we are about to talk about the best, greatest match ever on this card. That's what we do know. Yes, that's right. And P.T. Barnum was a crook. He was a horrible man. He once showed off an old black lady saying that she was over 100 years old and that she worked with George Washington, and it is really sad. He's a fucked up person. Yeah, P.T. Barnum. If you watch The Greatest Showman, they glorify him. They make him seem like he was this great guy. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. All right, and I'll say that for my history podcast. Stay tuned for the Koalition, New York City history. Okay. All right. So here we go. We have 7 matches on this card. 7 hot matches. This is going to be. All right, I can't do that. All right, I'm scrapping that. Whoop, rip the record. Throw it out the window. We're gonna start it off with the match that whatever. They listed. I'm looking online, a few outlets. We can never go based off of this order. Anything can happen. But right now, it's Paolo Cruz versus Andrade. Paolo Cruz is a champ. Andrade will have Selena in his corner. This is for the United States title. Dana, kick it off. Who do you have winning this one?
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Okay. Boom. There. Ricky, who do you have winning this one?
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna say Apollo. I love Dana's answer. I think that's one reason why it would be unwise for them to have Apollo drop the belt. But also because Apollo's very talented, and he was one of those guys that was being a workhorse for them, right after this pandemic happened. So it was good to see him get rewarded. And he needs to have a chance to carry the United States Championship for a little while. Andrade is just getting his rematch. But I think that after this, he's going to be done with that. So I'm just going to say...
You still think this is all going forward? Because remember, this is part of that whole Paul Heyman big push for Apollo. Now, if Vince is in charge, he's going to push everything with Andrade, because Andrade is the larger market for him when it comes to the Mexican audience. That's always the reason why he does these type of pushes. So that when they tour, when they have programming over there, he could say, look, we have a Mexican champ. That was the whole thing with Rio.
So depth of him if he did that, man. This is not the time to take off a proud black man that waited forever to win in the company and just take the belt away from him. It's a very bad time to do that. So
Andrade will come out and he'll talk to you in Spanish and tell you how Vince told him to take off his mask and he had to show his face, and that was a smack to the face to his culture and his pride. But he sucked it up to be, in the company. So.
No, when you have New Day taking a knee on Fox programming, no.
When did they do that?
Tonight.
I didn't get to watch it. I reproduced. I have a bunch of kids running around. They don't like to watch wrestling yet. That happened? They took a knee?
Yeah.
You spent your time reproducing?
Middle of the ring.
I did. Yeah. I got a few offspring.
Middle of the ring, they took a knee, they raised their fists, and then they continued their usual antics. But they were serious for that, brief period of time. So that was.
And then Keith Lee wearing the Black Lives Matters armband on Sunday.
I did see that. That was an amazing pay-per-view. Well, not all the matches, but some of them. Got my boy Damian Priest, friend of the show. We love him. We're gonna get him on the show one day.
Great.
Definitely gonna get him on the show. All right, so Rich.
Rich,
Rich. What about you? Black Lives Matter. Is that going to be the slogan? Are we giving him that catchphrase for Apollo Cruz? I don't think he's allowed to do that, though.
I'll say this.
He deserves it, regardless of Black Lives Matter. He just deserves it. He's put in his time. So, yeah, keep going.
I will say this. Apollo Cruz has definitely put in his time, but I do believe that he is on borrowed time. Andrade, he's already beaten Andrade twice since he's won the belt because they had a couple of tag matches on Raw. So I do think he will win and retain the belt, but I don't think he's going to be champion for long because even though he deserves, to finally get the time to shine, you have to see who is in charge here now. And this guy, as we have seen when we went to live shows, he was getting no reaction from the crowd. So I'm curious to see how he's going to be received when the crowd is allowed to come back. But I still think Vince is not sold on him yet. So we'll see. But he's going to win. Of course, he's going to win this match. But I don't think he's going to be champion for long.
See, that's a whole discussion, too. Because you're right about the reaction. I never understood that. Even when he debuted, he never really got a reaction. He has a great physique. He could work in the ring. He could do that amazing standing shooting star. And still no reaction. I don't understand that.
He's boring.
Uh-oh.
He's boring. So so how do you spice it up? They had him when he was part of this dude Worldwide. Remember they had that whole thing going on.
Okay.
Titus
Yeah,
Worldwide,
Titus Worldwide. They tried that, and I thought that was going to help get him over. That didn't happen.
No,
Then it looked like,
O'Neal has such a huge personality. It's just I don't think that you can. He's just boring, and it's okay to be boring. It's just not something that's eye catching. You can't help it.
all right. So you guys, so you think Andrade then, Rich?
Oh no. I mean, I think Apollo's going to retain, but I'm just saying he's not going to be champion for long. I mean, we also have to mention that Dominik Dijakovic had that little image on his Twitter account of the U.S. title, so I kind of feel like I don't know what's happening with that, but I'm just saying that he's not going to be U.S. champion for long. But he should win at least this match. I'm
not going to put any stock in Dijakovic's tweet because while he did post that tweet with the United States belt, he then posted a tweet with Seth Rollins. So he's basically just trolling.
Yeah, he's trolling everyone.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? That's a good gauge for him, because then if there's a lot of reaction to a certain tweet, then he can just forward that over to Triple H. Someone says, "Hey, this got like 20,000 likes."
No, he's also in trouble because of that. Because
okay, there we go. Then let's backtrack. I'll edit that out in post. All right, so on my end,
they don't like when you start feuds on your own.
Well, they gotta come on now. They're trying to grab that ring, right? This is grabbing the ring. If you can't get the TV time, then you got to get the tweet time. You got to do something.
On paper, you know.
Oh man, stop hating. Just stop hating.
I'm
not
hating.
you. I'm just saying to the wrestling world and Vince and all this shit. Just let people be. Let them be. Let them be. Let Ciampa and Randy Orton do their thing after he has his greatest match with Edge. All right, so here we go. My thing. Yeah, I agree. I think Apollo Cruz. He has to win this. He has to win this. He has to prove that he is a defending champion. That's the whole thing. Anybody could get a win on a fluke or whatever, but a lot of people feel you're not really a champion until you defend it. So he has to defend it. He has to put it up, especially on a pay-per-view event. And I hope he wins. But then again, Selena's involved, and that could get messy. And unless something happens and Apollo has some friends that could help him out, or they do something, I don't know. I see she's still going to get involved. She gets involved in almost every Andrade match. So this, I don't see this being any different. But I see Apollo retaining. Why not?
I think Apollo will retain, but I don't think that he'll make it all the way to SummerSlam as the champion. So I'm kind of agreeing with Rich that his reign will be short. I just don't think it'll be this short.
Yeah.
It'll be
That's what she said. All right, cool.
Oh,
whoa, family show. All right, match number 6. We got Bayley, Sasha Banks. There's a triple threat, everybody. Bayley, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, and the Iconics. I did the pose. You can't see it. I got no camera on. And there we go. And they're doing this for the tag team championship belts. So women's tag team championship belts. As you, maybe people don't even know. I mean, we know, but Bayley and Sasha have the titles. And I don't think they need it. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of all of this with the Bayley, Sasha. They're going to feud. They're going to do this. No. And they're champions. They don't need it. They don't need it. I say throw a curveball. Give it back to Iconics. I know a lot of people didn't like them when they had the belts before. They weren't defending them. A lot of people feel they don't wrestle well. Blah, 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 blah. But I think just put it on them. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, they already had the title. They had the titles. They lost it. Got Sasha Bayley. And then just give it to the Iconics. Change it up. Iconics are fun. So why not? All right. Dana, what about you?
I miss Naomi. I will have to go with I feel it that Bayley and Sasha will retain, but the Iconics out of this 3 groups, they deserve it more.
All right. There you go. I do too. All right, Ricky.
Fun fact. This is a pay-per-view. Sasha Banks has a belt, and she doesn't do well defending belts at pay-per-views. She's only successfully done that twice, going all the way back to NXT. One time in NXT and one time as a tag champion with Bayley. So, in a way, history's a little on her side, because if there's any chance of her defending successfully, it would be, in this. But they're trying to build a feud, I believe, like where it's like, oh, they're back together, but there's still some issues here and there.
So you think they're gonna do one of those cheesy things where they bump into each other, or maybe if one of them gets pinned and the other one blames the other one? It's like, oh, you're the weak link. Oh, you're the weak link. Your mother. What? My mother. What? And then they start fighting, and then that'll lead to them feuding. You think they're gonna pull something like that?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's gonna be a thing. I mean, what's gonna happen is Sasha's gonna end up being the face in all of this because they're having Bayley become like this
she's the heel. Yeah.
Yep. And so there's probably going to be something where Sasha gets pinned and Bayley blames her for it, but they build towards the SummerSlam thing. They're not going to have them split right away, but they'll build it up until SummerSlam. But I think that them having the tag belts is kind of a joke. It's done to build the feud, so I don't expect them to hold it. The Iconics, you put them in this match, and this allows it so that one heel team can take it off another heel team. So, yeah, I'm going to say the Iconics win it.
Okay. Rich?
Some very good picks thus far. Yeah, I mean, I do think the Iconics have the chance of winning. My pick, I'm going to stick with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross because WWE loves Alexa Bliss. Vince and company, they still, they
she's
still
great on the mic. She's a beautiful woman and she's great on the mic. She just has a lot of health issues in the ring, and that's concerning with the concussions. You don't want to overdo it with her, so.
Yeah. So I mean, I think y'all made a very good case for Iconics winning because, I mean, they're in this match for a reason, and they're not doing anything with them. They're not going to split them up, even though they had that little tease a couple weeks ago where I believe it was Peyton Royce got slapped by Billy Kay.
That was an accident, and it looked like they squashed that. Yeah, they were sort of hinting that there was a rift between them, but I think they squashed that. They decided.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have a problem with them winning, but I think it's very obvious, as in WWE storytelling, Sasha Banks and Bayley are going to have a feud, and right after this match, when they lose the belts, that's when they're going to kick that in high gear, and that'll probably be at SummerSlam when they actually have their match. Because think about it, who else is Bayley going to defend the belt against on SmackDown right now? There's no one that they have given her now to really appear to be a credible opponent. And Dana asked the question earlier, where's Naomi? Well, that's a great question. I think she's off TV now because the Usos are off TV.
Yeah,
so
that's how that works. How that works. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Peyton Royce, she's married to Shawn Spears? Yeah. Or are they just dating? She's married. So if married...
I think they're married now.
I think they're married now.
They were engaged before. So
if they're engaged or married, regardless, if she comes home with a title and he's still doing his rounds, like, well, look what I done. Yeah. Look what I did. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm a champ. I am a champion. So what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Yeah, I see you walking with the chair, but I'm walking with a title. I'm just saying.
He hasn't had a belt since like 2008 or something.
It's been a while. I don't see him getting another one anyway. But anyway, but we all agree that his fiance or wife will get one. That's what we all think. We think she's gonna walk away with some gold. Wife? All right, there you go. There you go. Coming home with the title. That's it. Make room in the bed. All right. So, match number 5. This is a controversial one. To quote Richard Bailey Jr., this is some controversy here. This is some controversy. I'm a little heated with this one too, because I see what they're doing. I see all of this shit. Everything that we talked about with the urine and all the craziness with the dog. This is Bruce Pritchard. This is Vince's humor, but this is also taking us back slightly into that Attitude Era. And what they're doing here with Jeff Hardy is no different than what we saw them do with Jake the Snake with his drinking problem when he was trying to clean up. Remember, and they would have him come out stumbling and doing that whole thing. Oh, he's falling off the wagon. Oh, this is embarrassing, And then, of course, we saw that Dark Side of the Ring, and they talked about what happened with Hawk from Legion of Doom and how they tried to work that in an angle. It sucks because it's a disease. Everybody knows somebody who has battled this disease. And it's to now say, oh, well, do we know he's better? We don't know. He went to rehab. We don't know if he's 100%. You never really get over it. You talk to anybody has this problem with alcohol, they never fully get over it. At any moment, they always have that urge, like, yeah, I guess I could pick up a drink, but I know it's going to do to me. But it's still there. And to go along and put this in the story, Matt, he was fuming about this whole thing online. And it sucks. It really does suck. But hey, this is what they're doing. And I don't know who wins from this. I don't know if this helps Jeff. I don't know if this helps Sheamus, throwing it in the face of Jeff. But hey, this is the match we have. Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. It's just a singles match. I want Jeff Hardy to win just because it's Jeff Hardy, and it sounds like this is going to be his last hurrah run with the company. This is definitely going to be his last serious run. But then at the same time, Sheamus just came back from this serious injury that he had. So this is really a toss-up. What are we going to do now? If Sheamus wins, it could be a dirty win. I could see that easily, but then that doesn't really resolve anything. I don't know if this feud is going to continue into SummerSlam. So, I don't know. What about you, Ricky? You can start this off. What do you think about this whole storyline and this match?
So, the storyline is interesting because I actually had kind of the same feeling as you, that I thought it was kind of classless for Vince to exploit, Jeff's personal demons like this. But I had an interesting discussion with Rich and our mutual friend of ours, Imani.
Yeah.
Shout out to her. She got me thinking, because she said that she understands why it looks wrong, but at the same time she's not going to feel too bad for Jeff Hardy if he's going to go along with it, considering that it's his problem.
He may not have a say in it, though. A lot of people don't have a say.
And it's not the first time that this has been used in storyline also. You remember the CM Punk thing in 2009, where Punk made fun of Jeff Hardy for his drug addiction and all that stuff.
Mr. Straight Edge, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's one of those things where, I don't like it being put in the storyline. It seems kind of weak, but, Jeff's going along with it. I mean, you're right. He might not have a say in it. He might. I don't know. But, regardless of that, if we go into the match itself, before this SmackDown, I would have thought Sheamus all the way. But seeing how that whole thing played out with the stupid thing with the urine and all that, it made Sheamus look foolish. And so, if you're willing to make Sheamus look foolish, you're willing to let him take the pin. So I think that Jeff Hardy will win this. Sheamus will get Hardy back later, but I think that Hardy...
So you think this is the beginning of a feud, or at least this feud is going to keep going into SummerSlam?
Yeah. I don't know if it'll go all the way to SummerSlam, but I don't think it's going to end on Sunday. So,
yeah, we might not even have a SummerSlam. I don't know what I'm talking about. We might even have that. All right.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy.
All right, you go, Jeff. Dana, what about you? Your boy Jeff or Sheamus?
I go with repetition. The thing is that the big problem that I have with this is, you could say, oh my God, it was a lot worse back in the day, and that's fine. The issue is that it was back in the day. It's very repetitive, and it kind of shows how lazy the writing is on WWE. Either they think that we just don't remember or didn't watch the product back in what, the 2000s? Or even the 2010s?
Well, if they go based off of the ratings, it looks like no one's watching. So then they probably feel that they could go back to the world. No one's watching. They don't know. Let's bring it back.
They write this stuff for the kids, and they assume that the kids are too young to remember it back in the day. The
kids are excited to watch pee and alcoholism?
People like poopy jokes, so I don't know.
We had someone was almost murdered, but okay.
Yeah,
Vince has a very, very juvenile humor to him.
Say almost murder. I mean, AEW, they were running people over with the car, so I mean, anything's possible in wrestling. Anything's possible. Hey, I'm just saying, if you're gonna throw poo like that, you gotta throw poo everywhere. Everybody has to get a little in the face.
Oh gosh.
That's it.
With this match, I hope they don't continue this storyline just because nobody's interested at all. Literally, I don't know many people who's like, oh my God, this is hilarious. So I do hope that they would end this soon and that it would be like Jeff Hardy's true redemption story. Remember with the whole packages that we were forced to watch for weeks on end. And so he comes back, he's being, thinks that he's an alcoholic, but he's not. He's staying clean and sober. He's doing those really horrible promos where he's just yelling at the camera all day. So I need for Jeff Hardy to win so this can end, please.
All right. Rich, what do you think?
I actually agree with a lot of what Dana had to say. I don't really care about this match. I don't care about the feud. All it has done to me is it has shown that now I understand why Matt Hardy left to go to AEW. Because if this is the best that you can do creatively for Jeff returning, it's like, come on, bro. I mean, you should give this guy something else. So as for who I think is going to win, I think they are more invested in Jeff Hardy and this going somewhere, because then now that AJ Styles is the Intercontinental Champion, that is a feud that we can have. Jeff Hardy trying to get the Intercontinental title off of AJ Styles. So that makes sense to me. But yeah, AJ Styles, I meant to say Jeff Hardy is the one who has the bigger upside. Sheamus is still great, whatever. But I mean, Sheamus is I think his time has passed as far as him being like, going after a title, stuff like that. So he doesn't really need to win anything. He can just put people over. But yeah, I think Jeff Hardy is definitely going to win the match because, again, look how much time they invested in his return, where every week they had that whole little video segment of this is the Jeff Hardy story, to get you involved and engaged. And when they spoke about the struggles with the alcoholism and all this other stuff, that was when you had to know, okay, they're probably going to put this in the story. And then we got that horrible thing with Elias, sometime after that. So, but yeah, I think Jeff Hardy is definitely going to win.
All right. Yeah. I don't know. Why not? I'll jump in with Jeff Hardy. I just don't. It doesn't matter at this point because anything could happen. If they decide to continue this story into SummerSlam, then Sheamus is going to win. He's going to do something shady, or it's going to be a no DQ or some craziness that's going to lead to a big match for them. They're definitely playing it up. They're building it up like there's a major feud going on between these two.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
SummerSlam isn't the next pay-per-view, right? After Backlash, is another pay-per-view coming after that, right?
Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the whole issue that we keep saying with SummerSlam is because apparently Vince doesn't want to do it if there's no crowd. He wants to do it in a crowd. This is one of the big ones, and they pay a lot of money for these venues and all that, so he definitely wants a live crowd there. But I wish I knew someone that had stopped watching wrestling back in the 90s, so that way I could say, hey, come in the living room. I want you to see this match. So just to get their reaction when they hear Jeff Hardy with the same music, wearing the same outfit, coming out doing the same moveset. It's like he's a blast from the past. And it's sad because he's had so many other versions characters that he's created over the years outside of the promotion, but yet Vince has put him in this box. And this is it. This is what we get. Even with all this, with him and fighting with the alcoholism and all this, you would think this would be a great turning point to create a new version of Jeff Hardy in the company. And they refuse to do it. Mm-hmm. It's still the same same outfit, same putting the guns in the air. Come on.
Since he was 16?
Change it up. Let the man breathe.
Well, here's a question for you, Adam. What if they have him lose at Backlash, and then that is what changes the character?
That's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Not like this. Nope. He would have to lose something like a buried alive match or something where he disappears for a while. But that's not going to happen because he owes so much time. He's back from rehab, but that's the other thing. His contract's even longer now because of all the time he spent away. And I think they definitely know that this is it. Once he's done with his contract, he's not going to resign with them. He's going to leave. And we've even sort of hinted at that, at least Matt Hardy has, on AEW. Like a week or two ago when he was doing it with a Private Party. And he was, I don't know if you saw that episode, and he was talking with them, and he said, hey, if you guys need anything, I was like, oh, yeah, we would definitely use your advice, the Hardy Boys, this and this. And he's like, yeah, man, me and my brother, we had some good chemistry, yeah. So if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. Still name dropping, still throwing that out there, because, of course, he's in a better position right now. And once his brother is done, he's got another job.
Well, hold on. When is Jeff Hardy's contract up? Is this up this year?
Don't know. They added so much time. And there's other things with their contract of time and dates. Matt Hardy had talked about it briefly on his social media. Talking about, like, yeah, he owes a lot of time. There's a lot of time left on him. So there goes that. And we all know, it's no secret, Vince McMahon always preferred Jeff over Matt.
I disagree.
No, you can't disagree, because the proof is in the pudding. He's always preferred him. He's always given him the push. He's always pushed him and put him in big spots. Matt Hardy had to go and start crying on YouTube, remember? When he started having meltdowns to get any attention because he was freaking out, going through some hardships. And still, didn't give a shit. Vince didn't care. Yep. All right, you know what?
No. Here's the thing. Jeff Hardy, unlike Matt, I feel, because there's a type of support and stability that WWE provides that's familiar to Jeff Hardy. He needs them right now. And that's why I can't see him going to AEW. Matt doesn't need that. There are two separate life paths with different struggles that they had going on. And I feel that Jeff needs that stability that is WWE and what they provide.
Did you see that special that they put on the network with the Hardy Boys when they came back, and they were talking about Megan and all that? Yeah, and they were talking about, and they even said it. They said when they were apart, it was very hard because they need that support. They are each other's support group when it comes to traveling and dealing with all the rough and tumble of the road in WWE. So now he's doing it alone or with a buddy, but he's not doing it with his brother. So
but that was
exactly. And he just came out of rehab. So no, it's not that hard. I'm sure he still would prefer when it comes to that. Now, this is not about, just having family. This is not like what we talked about with Adam Cole and, with his wife over in AEW. Oh, he should go, his girlfriend or whatever. He should go there. No. He should not. That's a different situation. He should not. He's in a better situation right now, career-wise. He's a champion. He's getting a big push. He's selling merch. Everything is in his favor. No reason to leave. But in Jeff's situation, there is. And I just talked about it. It's not even just with alcoholism. It's just his character. He is stuck in the 90s. His character can't seem to break out. And we know that Jeff Hardy likes to create characters. He's done it before over in Ring of Honor and TNA and the whole thing he did with his brother and with the Woken gimmick and stuff. He's got an open mind. And when he was Willow, all these different things he can do. And they just refuse to let him do it. And you get bored. And I'm sure the money's good. But I'm also sure that he has money saved up. He's still there. He's still around. He's got money. He's got his brother who knows how to manage money. So, I don't know. I just think for his well-being, his health, it just makes sense to be around family. And so, once his contract is said and done, say, hey, it was good. I had a great run. And he even said in his promos, he said, this is my last serious run. He said it a few times. So he's already sort of giving a hint out there, like, hey, you're going to see me do some big matches and maybe get a title, maybe not. But this is it. Because once this is done, I'm gone. I'm gone. So there goes that. And we will move on to match number 4. Now this one is going to upset me. This was going to upset me. I'm already upset. Hold on. Let me cut. All right, people. What we just cut, I was gone for 25 minutes. There was an order break. I had some issues. It's Asuka. She's a champ going against Nia. I'm going to hurt you, Jax. And this is for the Raw Women's Championship. And I want to say Asuka is going to retain. I really do. But with everything that Nia Jax has been doing, with hurting people and being reckless, and that's no different. She's always been like that, right? She's always been, but she still has a job. She's still put in these big matches. everything points that she's going to win. She's still part of the storyline, and they don't give a shit if she's reckless. She's the biggest heel that they have, at least the way they see it. And so she's going to get the title. That's what they're going to do. They're going to have her as the monster come in, and she's going to win this, and she's going to be the heel. And the heel champ. And it sucks. So, real quick, I'm just going to... I want Asuka to win, but I don't see Asuka winning. I see Nia Jax wins, and she becomes champ. What about you, Richard?
I think that is a very good assessment, and that can certainly happen. However, I personally think, even though these two opponents have already fought in matches, I think the money match is Shayna Baszler and Asuka. So I'm going to say Asuka retains, because one other factor that we didn't really get into, even if Asuka does have trouble beating Nia Jax, there is at least one person that still needs to get their comeuppance over Nia Jax, and that's Kairi Sane. They had her get squashed week after week against Nia Jax, and also injured, I would add. So if she was to get involved in this match, I don't know.
Do you think she would ever win? I saw that whole thing as the Rocky and Apollo versus Drago. That's what I pictured in my head. Because I felt like that's the storyline we were going with. It was like, hey, Nia Jax is Drago, and Apollo is Kairi Sane, and she went in there and she kept getting beat, because then they would cut to Asuka, and Asuka screaming, Kairi, screaming in the background. Remind me of when, Stallone was like, get up, no, and the whole thing. And then, Drago just killed Apollo in the ring, and that's pretty much how this went down. Yeah, he dies. And that's it. And that's what I saw from this. And I was like, oh, somebody just watched Rocky on rerun. And I was like, oh, shit, let's go with that. With the Nia Jax. She could be our Drago. But they just keep pushing Nia Jax regardless of all these injuries, these real world injuries. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, they certainly can go in the direction of Nia Jax. But I think it's way too soon to give Asuka the belt and then have her lose the belt this fast to Nia Jax. But again, we'll have to see what happens, because again, it really depends whether or not Vince is behind Asuka, or he is so disappointed in Monday Night Raw he wants to make a whole bunch of changes to the show right now. So it all depends. But I don't see any reason why you can't have Asuka can't still be champion by SummerSlam. And if she loses it at that point, that's fine. But I wouldn't have her lose it right now.
No, I want to see that. I want to see it. I want to back Asuka winning it. I just don't see it because of all the push that they give with Jax. But all right, Ricky, what about you? You see it the same way Rich sees it?
I do. Drago did kill Apollo, but Rocky beat Drago. That's true. What Asuka's going to do. That's true. And I agree with Rich's point that the big match is Asuka against Shayna Baszler, because you remember Shayna Baszler went roughshod over the entire division in one elimination chamber, and Asuka was that last opponent, and still Shayna handled Asuka like she was nothing. Now Asuka's been booked stronger lately, so it'll be interesting to see if we're gonna get an NXT dominant level Asuka against an NXT dominant level Shayna, and seeing, these two female titans collide, or if we're gonna get, Shayna squashing Asuka again. But that's the match.
If we put the whole thing of Brian Alvarez from those dirt sheets talking about that Vince was never really high on Shayna Baszler, that he doesn't see it, and if he is now running the show here, that could put a whole monkey wrench into her growth of all of that. I agree with you. She definitely deserves it, and she did get that big push. And remember, I predicted that. I said she was going to go in like the Brock Lesnar. She was going to start wrecking shop in that match, and she did. But it's under new management now. And it's old management. And old management goes with what he does. And he likes, big monsters, and he likes Nia Jax. So
yeah, I'm going to put it in the very lightest terms I can. If Nia Jax wins the belt, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
Oh, whoa!
Nice.
Whoa!
Nice.
Whoa!
Nice.
Not deserve it. She's too reckless. Enough of her. Enough. Asuka should win it anyway.
That's true. That's true. All right, Dana, is your favorite Nia Jax going to win this?
I predict that Ronda Rousey will come and destroy Nia.
Oh.
That she's been, running around. Ronda Rousey hurt my friend. She's unsafe. Yeah. And then you have Shayna come and destroy Asuka. And
now, wait, real quick with that. I remember when Nia Jax, who was she referring to? Who's her friend?
Alexa Bliss.
Well, because she heard Alexa Bliss first. So she needs to take that shit back if she's going to go. Because when I heard that, I'm like, a friend? Wait, who? You have friends that you haven't heard?
Oh. Well, if you watch Total Divas.
No, I don't.
They're besties. No one does. But yeah, that's her friend. And she was upset that Ronda hurt Alexa Bliss and some of the other girls, too. Mm-hmm. She said she was too rough, which is hilarious.
So she's the last person that should be throwing stones. All right.
And she's still talking about it. So I kind of feel that they're trying to set something up because Ronda responded like a while ago. So I think they're trying to set something up between them, which would be nice because that way she can armbar her and, just have her tossed out for a while now. But in terms of if no one is running out for a DQ, I unfortunately see Nia winning this. And you also have to remember, Asuka she never won the title. She was given the title.
But
because of the back.
So she still has the Money in the Bank.
No, because instead of the contract, it was the belt.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. She opened up the case and then it was there. Mm-hmm. See, it would have been great if she had the Money in the Bank and the title. Because then after that, let's say if they did here we go, my fantasy booking. This is my crazy booking. Asuka loses the match. She loses the match. Nia Jax just kicking her ass, keep stomping, ring the bell, stop the fight. Kairi Sane comes down with a chair, so it's beating on her. All right, Nia Jax can barely move now. The referees, everybody's in there, they're trying to stop. And then Asuka gets up and she sees that Nia Jax is just laying there. And then she points to the briefcase that she had with her. Or maybe she had it under the ring so that way it throws the curveball. No one saw coming. And she says, here, take. They take it. She then crawls over 1, 2, 3. So she loses it and wins it in the same night. There you go. Fantasy booking. Adam, volume 6. All right. So there we go. Seems like majority think that Asuka's going to walk away with this one, though. Oh, no, actually it's 2 for 2 because you agreed with me. Nia Jax. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, now this one is another one that pisses me off, depending if they go the route that I think they're going to go. This is match number 3. This is the handicap match. Braun Strowman, of course, is the champ, versus The Miz and John Morrison. Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, Johnny I can do parkour flips on your face. I'm pissed. This is pissing me off because if Braun wins, it just undermines his whole thing. We've seen him do this before with the bar. Remember when he grabbed Nicholas from the crowd? I could use anybody, doesn't matter. That helped no one. It was pointless because the next night he had to give the belt up. Whole thing. That was dumb. So now here he's just a champion. And I really want Miz and Morrison to win because if they win, they get to share that belt. And that'll be awesome to see them share the belt, to see who defends it on which night as a champ. So, I don't know. I'll give my prediction after this. But, all right, so, Rich, who do you think's going to win this? And what do you think of this match? Handicap for the championship.
First and foremost, no disrespect to Braun Strowman, but this is a perfect example of why the ratings are horrible with SmackDown. Who the hell thought it's a great idea to give Braun Strowman this as a title match? That shows how weak the card is.
I told you, he likes the monsters. That's the whole thing with Nia Jax and the whole thing with Braun. He's a big monster, and he still thinks bigger is better, and that this will grab attention because people will tune in and see one big man beating up on 2 average-sized men.
And you know what my response to that is? I thought they had something when you had the storyline between Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Why was that only one match, and now all of a sudden, now we don't have an opponent for Braun Strowman? It just doesn't make any sense. Listen, I applaud. I definitely applaud John Morrison for making a return, but we already know this guy is not winning the world title, unless, of course, especially not under these circumstances. And then once again, to talk about the horrible booking on SmackDown, how do you give a team that was in the tag team picture that lost the titles? The last time we saw them was when they lost the tag match. All of a sudden, now they're in a world title match. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So obviously, Braun Strowman is going to win the match. It's going to be a squash match, and I don't know which direction they're going to have him go after this. But this is why, because before we started the show, I was talking with another friend of ours. Looked at the Backlash card and said, this card looks like complete garbage. I said, I agree. And this is one of the matches that I have to say, it looks like it's going to be garbage. But yeah, Braun Strowman is going to win.
Damn. All right. See? Oh, man. So you think it's going to be a quick match?
I mean, it should be a quick match. But it probably is going to be, last for a little while. But no, it's definitely going to be shorter than the greatest wrestling match ever.
Okay.
But yeah, this match. I'm not really invested in this, but yeah, Braun Strowman obviously is going to win the match.
All right, Dana, what about you? What do you think?
Here is. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Okay. Great. When it comes to this match, I'm honestly kind of bored of Braun Strowman. I wish they would cycle out some of these wrestlers. It's just too much.
What do you want from him, though? What is it that you're bored with? I don't get it. What is it that's...
They don't really have anything for Braun. I don't really feel he's just a big man.
Yeah.
And then
But that's not his fault. He's just a talent. They have to figure out what to do with the talent. It's not his fault. He doesn't have a say. This ain't AEW.
No, I don't think there is any fault with him. It's the fault with the company. They need to just recycle and, keep it moving. Yeah.
So you say Braun wins. You think Braun's going to win?
This is a weird handicap match. I don't understand the purpose of this. I don't know why. This is odd. But I do kind of feel that he is going to retain. Even though I feel that Miz and John, they need something. They need a belt of something, of some kind. It's just, they came in to lacklusterness. I don't really understand why. It's kind of like people forgot about who, Morrison was. But they need something to keep that momentum. Right. Because I feel that them together...
So are you saying Miz and Morrison win? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
They need something. Because,
Gotta have something. So
I just want to make a quick comment. I don't think they ever should have taken the tag titles off of these guys. They could have still.
It was too soon when
Agreed.
they did. Too soon.
Yeah, because they could have done so much more. But we'll see.
Yeah, advertising them. They just got back together because Morrison came back, and then next you know they lose the belt. All right, so Ricky, what about you? What do you think?
I don't get. I do and I don't get Vince's obsession with putting Strowman in handicap matches. He just had one at Elimination Chamber against 3 men. Now, granted, at that WrestleCast, I predicted that Strowman was going to win, and I didn't think twice about it. And I was glad to be wrong when Sami Zayn ended up winning that Intercontinental belt. I don't think that's going to happen this time. Miz and Morrison are a tag team. As interesting as it would be to have them share a Universal Championship and how that storyline would go, I don't think that they're that creative. So we're going to see Strowman retain in fairly easy fashion, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that the only purpose of this match is to have Miz and Morrison win because it's just too obvious that Braun would win this. It just seems too obvious. I mean, think about it. If anybody looks at the card and is like, "Oh, one big monster versus 2 jabroni," of course he's gonna win. That's what they're gonna see, and it makes it too obvious. I think this would be perfect because it throws a wrench into the whole system of how this works. It can change things up in so many different ways. Like I said,
Well-
we could have Miz and Morrison. This will be the first time co-champions. They've never had co-champions for a title. So then they can go off on it like, hey, tonight you're going to defend the belt? Yeah, all right, I'll be at ringside then. Tomorrow I'll defend the belt and I'll be at ringside. So that could be fun. They could do something like that. And then we could have Braun Strowman do the Fiend. Because the rumor is Fiend is going to interfere in some way. Whether it's a video or in person. Yeah, that's it.
Totally forgot about that.
But see, you know what though? That right there, what you just said about the Fiend, I'll just make this point real quick. This is the lack of logic with WWE, because you recall when Bray Wyatt had the match with Strowman, at the very end of that match, you saw how Bray Wyatt got up, and then and that was the signal that okay, the Fiend is going to return.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen the Fiend for weeks, months, weeks.
Mm-hmm. And remember also, Braun was not the original choice for the belt.
Yeah,
it was Roman Reigns, and Roman's out of it. So this was a last resort. What are we going to do? Throw a big man. That's it. Just throw Braun in there, do the big man thing. So they can do whatever they want right now with this, because they didn't have a long going plan storyline for Braun Strowman as a champion.
Yeah.
So why not right now throw a twist? No one would see it coming. The Miz and Morrison, and then they could probably do a funny pose with the title every time they have it, where they both hold up a side. It's like, we're the champions, and they can sing their silly song that they created. And it'll be fun. It'll be something fun. It'll be something different. Why not go that route? And nobody sees it coming. No one sees it.
One final comment, and then you can go to somebody else. The only way that I will accept that is if it also means that Otis is going to cash in against one of them and actually win the belt, because that's a whole nother thing that they haven't.
That's right. Otis could show up. They could be one guy just badly beaten on the ground and he could show up, and Braun, or maybe he's hurt. Who knows? Yeah, they beat Braun. They're both celebrating. Otis comes in, knocks one of them down, grabs the other one, does his finisher, and poof, he becomes a champ. And then that can lead up to a Braun versus Otis. But it sounds like this is it. This would be the stepping stone to bring in the Fiend, to build that feud between Braun and the Fiend.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You have Brock Lesnar holding the belt hostage for so many months. He drops it, and now you have it being hot potato between 3, 4, 5 wrestlers. That would be quick in a year. That'd be something.
That is true. All right, now we're down to the final 2. This is usually when people take a break, go to the party, go get some popcorn, beer, make some phone calls. They come back, they get ready, sitting at their seats. There's no fans in the crowd, so this won't happen. So we have Drew McIntyre, the champion, versus Bobby the Destroyer Lashley. This is it. WWE Championship matchup. This is it. This is the match that I'm waiting to see. Maybe. Don't know. Still haven't decided. But, yeah, that's the... In my head, I'm like, yes, this could be a great match. We could get the Bobby Lashley of Impact that I enjoyed, that I was excited to find out eventually that he was coming back to WWE, and that version of Bobby did not return. So I'm hoping that that's the Bobby we get. But then, of course, with the recent news of Vince now taking full control, I don't know if this is in the books. I also think that we could see a swerve with this whole thing, and I'll just go first with this one. This is my, again, fantasy booking. May not happen. And people will be like, that's never going to happen. But it could. They have a match. Something happens where maybe Brock comes down, distracts Drew. Bobby wins. Now Bobby's the champ. Then we find out that Brock Lesnar wants to face Bobby for the title. Now, this was the match that we all wanted to see originally. This is what Bobby Lashley apparently put on his contract, that it's guaranteed he will definitely have a match. Didn't say anything about a title match, but he said he put in the contract that he definitely has to have a match with Brock because of the whole MMA background and the records. There's a lot of content they can use for packaging for this matchup. The thing that sucks, and I know a lot of people, but Drew didn't get a title run. That's not a title run. I get it. But when you think of the storyline going forward, this is where that story would go. And then now to hear that Paul Heyman is back in character mode, this is it. This is how you do it. What, you're going to go and do it the other way around and just say, hey, Brock wants a rematch, Drew, and you go and hype that up, okay, and maybe it's so that way they can have that match in front of a live crowd, but we still don't even know if that's going to happen for the next pay-per-view or SummerSlam. So we can't even rely on that. But everything points that this is the match. Some people are like, oh, well, the whole Black Lives Matter, and maybe it'll look wrong to have a big white man do a kick to the face to a black man and then pin him. That's true. You're right. That is a bad look. I agree. But that is not what I'm basing this off of. I think that Bobby is deserving. Anybody listens to our 800 episodes that we've done of this shit knows that I've always been pushing for Bobby Lashley. I've always been in his corner. And I believe he has a lot to offer. So I would like to see this happen. It sucks for Drew. Sorry for Drew. I like Drew. But I think for the story, for progression, for the industry, and to quote Triple H, this is what's best for business. Have Bobby win the belt. Then there's a good packaging that they can put together with the feud between him and Lesnar. That is a matchup we have never seen. We will finally see it. And that could be amazing. And then after that, we could bring Drew back into it. I know it sucks, but that's my thing. Bobby wins just so he can go against Brock Lesnar. Now Heyman's back. That all points that could be the situation because he could be the advocate. And they can build this up. So there goes that. All right. Rich, you had a lot of snickling and laughing and stuff, and it made me feel uncomfortable. So now you can say.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, I don't know. I'm just. All right, your turn.
Yeah.
You go. I'm crying now.
All right, so. Okay, so let me start by saying this. I know that there was a recent interview that Drew McIntyre had in which he said that he felt he didn't really have a true WrestleMania moment because the fans were not a part of the experience. So to that end, I do think that Drew McIntyre, I could see Drew McIntyre losing the belt and having to win it back when the fans are back in attendance. Don't know when that's going to happen, but I will say this. I understand the whole agenda that WWE wants to get on board with the whole Black Lives Matter, etc. But I don't think that Bobby Lashley, this feud with Bobby Lashley, this isn't a one and done type thing. I think Bobby Lashley is going to probably end in disqualification because it's not. I don't think they're just going to have him outright beat Drew McIntyre right out the gate this Sunday. We still have another event.
Well, this is why I was thinking that it would have to be that the music hit, Brock Lesnar comes down around, a distraction. Something to throw Drew off his game. So that way there's always that asterisk to the win. It's like, well, you won, but the music played, Brock came down, he was distracted. All right, keep going. Yeah, no.
Well, that can still happen. But what I personally think is going to happen is that this match is probably going to end in a disqualification or something. It's going to probably be a dirty finish or what have you. Or Drew McIntyre is going to get the win, and then right after he gets the win, he can get ambushed and attacked once again by Bobby Lashley and MVP. Get a couple of punches in before he is the one that takes the the Claymore, because we know they got to make him look weak also. But I personally think this is leading to an Extreme Rules match between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, and that's the match where you can say, well, somebody gets involved and Drew McIntyre could lose at that point. But I don't think he's losing on Sunday because it doesn't make sense for him to lose it that fast. I mean, obviously, we've seen the reports saying that this is not the one and done like his match with Seth Rollins. That was a one and done. This is probably going to be a feud that lasts for at least a couple pay-per-views. So I think Extreme Rules, that's when if that match happens, that's probably when Drew McIntyre will lose the match, because then you can have him get injured in that match, and then he can be off TV for a while. And then if you decide to have Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, they have their match at SummerSlam, and then Drew McIntyre comes back right after that and gets his shot. But that's just my guess.
All right, that's a good guess. I like that guess, but I will be editing that out in post. So, Ricky, you are next.
I'm just interested in thinking like, okay, so let's say, Adam, that we go with your prediction, and let's say Bobby Lashley takes the belt off of Drew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say for Extreme Rules, these two have a rematch, so that they'll both have something to do. And then let's say Brock Lesnar gets involved at Extreme Rules, Bobby Lashley retains, and that's how you get Lashley against Lesnar at SummerSlam. But then what does that do for Drew McIntyre? Who does he feud with at that point? Because now you've gone from building him up, winning the Royal Rumble, winning the belt in the main event of WrestleMania, and now you're dropping him back down.
But then this is where we tie in Rich's idea. So let's say he gets distracted. Bobby pins him, wins the title. He's all happy. Drew is in disbelief. Brock comes down and just F5s him until the lights go off. And then we find out he's hurt. He's out for a while. There you go. You write him off for a while.
Okay, so that would be you'd have him injure Drew storyline wise.
Yep.
And then you can have Drew's return and eventual win once the crowd's back.
Yeah, and by then the crowd hopefully will be back, and then he can win it back in front of a crowd.
That would be cool. The only thing is that if that's going to play out, I think it might be closer to something where maybe Drew retains it now and then drops it at Extreme Rules. And then that's where you get the Brock Lesnar attack. I don't think that you can have Drew lose twice in a row because that's going to bury the guy. So I'm interested in the whole Lashley Lesnar thing. I don't know if that's going to happen this year or next year or when. But I do think it's a good idea for them to push Bobby Lashley, and having him paired up with MVP is a winning combination. That having been said, if it's true that this is not going to be a one-off, I think you're going to have Drew retain here, and then maybe have Bobby Lashley win it at Extreme Rules. We'll see where they go with it. But for now, I'm going to say Drew McIntyre retains.
Drew McIntyre retains. All right, Dana, this is it. This is the one you've been talking about for the past 4 months. So what do you think?
No way in the world is Bobby Lashley winning anything.
All right, that's cool. So here we go to the main event. You know what? Because we all know, anybody listening to we don't know, she hates Bobby Lashley. Dana, as she's got a voodoo doll that looks just like him, and she's always sticking there with pins and needles. She hates the man. I don't understand why, but she hates him.
I just want to make a quick comment before you give her a chance to respond. We made the comments earlier about what happened with Paul Heyman. Yeah, it's unfortunate, whatever. But with all due respect, Paul Heyman did not do an excellent job with everything on Monday Night Raw. And Bobby Lashley, putting him in that stupid storyline with Rusev and Lana, that is one thing I did not like at all.
Amen.
But wasn't that Vince's idea because he liked the whole thing because of the ratings that it were getting on YouTube?
Well, hey,
because I remember that was the whole thing that he kept wanting to run with it because it was getting over 1 million views, the YouTube video. So he's like, well, people like this, so we're going to keep running with it.
No, that was purely. I felt like that was a pure Paul Heyman storyline, something very similar to Jerry Springer because he's known for that, and Vince happened to really like it, and it just continued to the point where it just no one cared.
No one cares.
But no one cares.
All right.
Because no one.
So you think
it's a total Vince thing to take something that's popular and run it to the ground until it's no longer popular.
Right. Because remember, there was a while ago where it was the limousine exploding and who killed Vince, and they had the whole memorial. It was cut short, unfortunately, because of Benoit. But remember, it was like, there was a secret child, and it was fighting over the inheritance.
Yeah, it was real complicated. It was overcomplicated for that storyline.
And Hornswoggle's idea was Vince. Everything else was not Vince's idea. So he'll take something that can start off great, and it just destroy it.
All right. So you got Drew. You picked Drew.
I never got to speak.
Because you don't like Bobby Lashley. We talk every time I bring this up, even in private chat. I'm like, but you're like, I don't want to bury him. He shouldn't be here.
Equality. Stop. Now, here's the thing. I don't like Bobby Lashley. And I don't want him to win. I feel somehow I don't know where Lana's been. And Lana doesn't have anything to do. She's been, just floating around, still trying to win back Bobby. Remember?
I think
So
they took
I
her
feel
off because of her husband. I thought that was the whole reason. It was like, why even bother promoting her? They're still bitter about her husband leaving. Real life, leaving the promotion.
right, but they still put her in that storyline that went nowhere. And the last time we saw her was, "I'll win back Bobby," and because remember it was like some weird subliminal abuse that was going on. And so I feel that Lana could somehow cause a distraction where Drew ends up winning. I know that MVP is going to be involved as well because he's the mouthpiece for Bobby Lashley. Um, I do not see this being a clean win. I also don't see Bobby Lashley winning. I don't see him winning right now. I can see, I don't know what ends up happening with Drew. And the thing is, now that we know that Bruce Pritchard is the writer, Vince has a tendency of once he forgets about you or doesn't want anything to do with you, you're gone. So Drew could easily go back to being a mid-carder, wrestling, I don't know, for the 24/87 title.
I thought Vince liked him, though.
Yeah.
Vibe was that he liked Drew. He liked the size. He's a big man. He's white. He's he likes these are all the things he likes. I mean, this is.
He said he's white. Yes, these are things that Vince McMahon likes.
He likes. This is no shocker. I mean, I'm not breaking news. I'm no Dave Meltzer over here. This is we all know this. There's nothing wrong with that. This is we're pointing out the facts. I've been watching this for over 40 years. So.
I mean,
I do feel that Bobby will get his shine in another pay-per-view if we don't have SummerSlam. I don't know, Winter Slam.
That would be a good
I
one.
do feel that will happen.
Copyright that Winter Slam.
Winter Slam.
How come we never
I
had
don't
that?
feel that it's going to be right now.
Okay.
Not right now. Plus, Drew's only had it for a couple months since WrestleMania. It's April.
To be fair, Drew is the rare big hoss, apple of Vince's eye that I actually am on board with because he does have the total package as far as what you want in a star wrestler.
Yeah.
So I would hope that they don't give up on him.
All right.
Let me just make one final comment before you move on to what I'm guessing is going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. Just to go based off of what Dana said about Bruce Pritchard, in the writing, if I had to make a guess as to how this will play out, they still haven't ended this whole thing with, okay, Bobby Lashley is just fed up with Lana and wants a divorce. So she probably will be the one that causes him to lose this match. And then that's when they end that storyline and now he gets serious along with MVP. And then that will be when he wins the next time around, he has a shot at Drew. Because then it makes an excuse as to give Bobby Lashley another chance. Because now Lana's not there to distract or be a nuisance and prevent him from actually winning.
Oh, that's so tired, though. We've seen that happen before. Remember, that was the whole reason why he kept telling her to stay in the back. And then he started winning matches again. And that's when he did that. That's led to the whole separation.
Yeah.
So,
but they haven't separated yet, though.
Remember
they haven't in her last words where I'm going to win him back.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, so there goes that. The big one. This is the big one, though. This is the one that everyone wants to see. Rumors, I forgot if it was Alvarez and Meltzer. One of them had reported that, 'cause as we all know, this whole card was taped. And that this match was running around 35 minutes. This is a long match. And there are some edits. So it's going to be a nice, clean match. Not clean to finish or anything, but just clean that we're not going to see any mess of sloppiness. It should be a smooth flowing match. And that's Edge versus Randy Orton. And just a singles match. And I'm cool with that. We saw that craziness that they had that went way too long at WrestleMania. So now it's only fitting that they have a legit match. They could have a quality match. But I don't see what happens from this outcome. I'll save my opinion to after. But, Dana, you were the last before. You'll be the first here. What do you see from this match?
Me going to sleep.
Okay, next, Ricky. What do you see? Dana, that's your response. That's it. You're gonna pass it. You're not watching this.
I paused for dramatic effect.
Oh, you did.
I did. Okay, here's the thing. I really like how they've been building up this whole feud. I like Edge's promos. I think he is a masterclass when he comes and he performs and he does that whole I believe in myself. I love when they had Christian come in and you didn't know where he was going and it kind of felt swervy, but he in the end they was like the peep show again. So I really appreciate that. I love again the build. And also remember where there's Beth Phoenix. No, am I getting my people mixed up? Beth Phoenix is involved,
that
right?
is his wife. He's not married to Chris. Yeah, you're right. Beth Phoenix is the wife. That's correct.
No, I meant like she was involved in this feud because I know he feuded with
because she took an RKO.
Yeah, she took an RKO. So you have literally his entire family and his friends that's rooting him on, and I feel that this is a very good match from the emotional standpoint. And Randy Orton is kind of like the lone wolf. No one's really been in there for him. He's just fighting for himself. So I do like that build up when it comes to that. This is already a taped match, and the word is that it's good. It's not great. I feel that this was an impossible situation for both of them to be placed in that kind of this is the greatest show with the greatest match. And that is just not their fault. So when it does become boring, you can't blame them. I see that overall, yes, it seems that Edge needs this more, but Randy, in the long run, needs to win this match. And they can continue this. I hope they don't, but they can continue this feud up until WinterSlam.
I don't know. So who do you? So you're predicting Randy Orton wins this?
I'm predicting the Ortons.
All right, Ricky, Edge, Orton.
What time to think about this?
All right, Richard, Edge, Orton.
Well, for anyone listening, I'm just going to give you a warning. You may not like what I'm going to say next. I'm a huge fan of Edge. I saw the WWE special once again, and the emotional response he got to coming back to wrestling, even though some people on this panel, we had a discussion, they think some of that stuff was fake, which, we'll see. But in terms of this particular match, I agree with Dana. I like the build to the match, everything with, Christian showing up, that's good. But if I'm honest, I really don't give a damn about this match. Because my feeling is that I'm glad that Edge is back, but Edge has stated it several times over. There's a lot of people he wants to wrestle, and I also want to see him wrestle other people other than Randy Orton. So the whole thing about him coming back, he had his match with Orton at WrestleMania, and then they have weeks, like I think it was a week or two after that, or you see a Raw promo, Edge wants to clash with Randy Orton. It's like these guys already had a match at WrestleMania, so what's the deal? And then you wait that 2-week period after the match has already happened to say, oh, it's still going on. So I'm not really sold on that. But I will say this, in terms of who's going to win the match, I would say give it to Edge. I don't think Randy Orton needs to win this match at all. Randy Orton has had an illustrious career. They're not really doing anything with him. He's not in a world title picture, but I do think if they wanted to give him a world title, they can just give him a title match. He doesn't have to earn anything. Edge is the one that had his comeback match at WrestleMania. You could argue that he doesn't need to win this either. That's why I said it doesn't matter, but I would still give it to him so that he's proven now that he can wrestle, which we already know he can wrestle still. He still has the edge, so to speak, pun intended. But yeah, I want this feud to be over with because I want to see what are you going to do with Edge next? Who is going to be some of the other opponents that he's going to face? Because let's face it, he doesn't have that much time left. And as he said in the promo when he came back, he doesn't know how long this is going to last. So I would utilize this time to actually give him the matches he wants against others. If he requested this match with Orton, that's fine. But after this, I want to see him face somebody different. just to switch things up, because there are a lot of other talent that he can match us up with really well, which can actually make it for a really good match.
So you think Randy Orton wins this?
No. I think Edge is going to win the match.
Oh, you think he is going to win the match?
Yeah, because Edge is the one that has something to prove here. Once again, that he is back, and he is back to being Edge. That's the whole thing they want you to believe, is that, yeah, but are you really still Edge? This is the match that can prove that he's still Edge. But yeah, I say Edge wins.
Okay, all right. Now, I'll just jump in. Ricky, you still have a little more time to think about this. So, all right, so this is the issue with all this. Because Edge is getting that early Brock Lesnar treatment. He's going to be a specialty. He's a novelty. He's openly said he has, in his contract, I think it's just a handful of matches. He can make a certain amount of appearances, but it's only a handful of matches he's going to have just to see how things go, at least within this contract. Right, so if it's a handful, let's say it's one hand, that's 5. He's already had 2 if you count this one that's been taped. So there's 3 left. So if Edge wins, I think the next one, it's a no-brainer that he goes against Seth Rollins. That Seth Rollins will walk down to the ramp and start clapping and say, oh, that's a great performance, and give his little speech and start a feud there. But the downside to all this is that you can't have Edge, like we did with Brock, win all his matches. If he only has a handful, then that doesn't leave many rematches. So we already know that we saw Seth Rollins lost recently to Drew. So that's a big loss. Does he take another loss to Edge? We do want to see this matchup. It makes sense that it's the next one, but how do you go about doing it? So I would think that Seth Rollins goes over in that one, and then you just got to keep the ball rolling, and then Edge can go against someone else. But I think for this sake, I definitely see Edge winning this, because it doesn't hurt Randy Orton anyway, because Edge is not, like I say, it's a specialty. He's not a full-timer. He's not even a part-timer. He's a special timer. So it doesn't even matter if you lose to this guy, because it's not going to change your standing or anything, and you just go about your business. It was like, yeah, this guy came, it happened, and it's over. So I say, Edge wins this because it's a clean match. And I don't want them to progress this. If they keep this going, because that's the only way it'll happen. If Randy Orton wins, of course it's going to keep going. And it would suck if this is what's happening, that we're going to see 3 or 4 matches, that they're going to drag this out with Randy. It's not that big of a deal, story-wise. I don't think anybody is striving to say, oh, I can't wait to see more. Next time you're going to put this in a Hell in a Cell. No, I don't think we need to see that. So I'll just say Edge wins. Next one, Seth Rollins. All right, Rich, you said you're going to add something?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment before you go to Ricky. I like that theory a lot. The only thing I will say is that it appears to me, I think that's pretty obvious to everybody here, it looks to me like Seth Rollins is going to have a match with Rey Mysterio at a future pay-per-view. That's the storyline they're telling. So I would say, if that is the case, and if the original plan was to have Edge go against Seth Rollins next, it's probably not going to be for a while, which means that Randy Orton is going to win, and they're going to have one final match to settle the score. No. So hopefully that's not what the plan is, and hopefully Edge just wins and closes out this feud.
Oh, no, we don't need another one. Come on. We don't need another one. Yeah, and that whole thing with Rey Mysterio, it's also, that could be phased out. We don't need that shit right now. We don't need that. That's not needed. Not happening. But, all right, Ricky, you ready? Are you ready? This is it. You're closing out the show. Who's winning? This is it.
Okay. So, first I want to mention that when Charlie Caruso first said the words, this could be the greatest wrestling match ever, I burst out laughing because I couldn't believe what I had just heard. I was like, wait, that seemed really random. And then they kept saying that again and again and again. And it's like, you've just screwed over both of these guys, because as great as they are, they're both in their 40s. They're not going to put on the greatest match ever. You've just set the bar way too high. to hype up an in your house pay-per-view. That's what Backlash is. It's an in your house pay-per-view. And it's not as good as TakeOver in your house, by the way. That was fun. But going back to Edge versus Randy Orton. No one in their right mind wants to see a trilogy here. We already had this built up since the Royal Rumble, when Edge came back and the whole thing with Orton. You can't have this go for half a year. You know? If Orton wins, you can't just end it like that, because now you need a rubber match to settle it. You get a trilogy. It officially goes for half a year. You don't want that. So I think that you also have to think from this thing. Who is this feud? Who is it meant to benefit more? The answer to that is Edge, because Edge is the one with something to prove here. He's the one that's constantly reminding everyone that he's been out for 9 years. Does he still have it? Orton's always had it because he's been around. Orton doesn't have to prove anything. Edge does. So Orton's here to help Edge look like $1 million. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a great match. I don't think it's going to be the greatest match. Ridiculous, but it's going to be a great match, and I think that Edge Orton will come close a few times, but I think Edge will win. I do think that Seth Rollins makes sense as a future feud, but yeah, there's the whole thing with Rey Mysterio and how that's going to go. So it's just like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think. No, were you going to say something?
I just was going to make a comment real quick because you mentioned Rey Mysterio, and you can continue after this. I just have to say, the comment on Monday Night Raw, Rey Mysterio, as soon as I get in the ring with you, Seth Rollins, I'm going to give you a 619. That was some of the corniest shit that I've ever heard. But yes, continue.
I concur with that. So yeah, especially if Edge has limited matches, then they need to move these feuds along. But the purpose of this feud is for Edge to win and for it to make a statement. Because it's like, we know that Edge has returned to wrestling, but is Edge back? This is about answering that question. Is Edge back? And that is why this is being hyped up, because you're not supposed to think of it as two wrestlers who are past their prime. You're thinking of it as two wrestlers who can still, put on a great match. And, hopefully that's what we see. But I think the right thing and what they will do is have Edge win this. So that's my pick.
All right. There you go. So we all pretty much think this is Edge, besides Rich. Rich thinks Randy Orton's going to pull this off.
Oh, no, that's Dana. That
was Dana? Dana said that?
Yeah.
All right, so Dana. So there you go. Dana's outnumbered. Edge is winning this. I think they're going to announce the feud with whoever it is, whether Seth Rollins or someone else, I think right after. I don't think they're going to prolong it. I don't think they're going to drag it out, because they're going to have to use quick time to build this up, because I'm assuming, in my mind, I'm seeing Edge have a match at SummerSlam. So that would be the case. All right, people, that was it. This is our predictions rundown of WWE Backlash 2020. Hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead, watch the pay-per-view this weekend. Keep watching wrestling. Maybe you don't need to watch. Who knows? I mean, a lot of people don't seem to watch the main product, but hey, it's still fun. It's wrestling. And we will see you at the next. What's the next one? The Extreme Rules, or is it the AEW one? I think it's Extreme Rules.
I'm not sure when the AEW one is.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that Fight Fest.
I don't know when that is, so it's going to be Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules. All right, people. So enjoy. Check this out. Thanks for listening. Over either on YouTube or over at thekoalition.com. Got a lot of great content. A lot of craziness going on. Yes, it's E3, but then it's not E3. It's one of those situations. So stay tuned to the site. There's plenty of things. And we will talk to you next time. Peace.